And you are live.
All right, and we're live, and we want to welcome everyone to kind of this kickoff to what we are looking to be a bit of an ongoing series related to providing students an opportunity to have a voice in what's going on campus, getting your feedback, your opinions, hopefully just to help us as the teachers and administration get a better perspective and be able to arrive at policies that work for everyone. So what you have is a handout, has kind of the structure for our conversation. We're just going to kind of walk through that. Since everyone may not get a chance to speak, feel free to write down your thoughts. I'll collect this to kind of record that, and you're welcome to get it back once I do that, so put your name on. Just in general, what's been going on is we have a discipline committee, and we're going to do introductions in a moment. And in that committee, we've been talking about some of the issues related to discipline on campus. And one of our tasks has been to kind of look at policy and think about what are some of the changes we think we might need to make. We've had some conversations in our staff meetings with all the teachers talking about these topics as well as others. And so again, this is really just having a conversation, getting your feedback. What do you guys think to help us process and work through as a committee these decisions? So I'm Mr. Jans, librarian here. Let's just go down the line. We'll introduce our discipline committee.
Ms. LeGrand, senior anatomy.
I'm Ms. Fernandez. I teach AP World History for sophomores and regular history.
I'm Derek Light. I am the student.
Just the committee.
Oh.
He may someday.
I appreciate that. Yes.
Phyllis King. I teach AP Art. Derek's actually one of my wonderful art students, and drawing, digital photography, and painting.
Yeah, it is. And I'm Mrs. Lowen, one of the 10th grade counselors.
Right, and so we have some representatives from some of the different student groups: AVID, SPAT, NHS, Silk. And so we've got Alma, Esmeralda, Jacqueline, Emily. Oh, we skipped Daniel, Renee, Ernesto, and Alexis, and last but not least, of course,
Jennifer Alvarez. I teach principles of arts and AV, video game design, and AP computer science principles.
Great. And I think it's always important when you're going to try and have a group conversation, you establish some norms. Maybe this doesn't need to be said, but it's always just a good idea just to have that common understanding of how we go about having a conversation. So just some things I thought of. One, we're aiming to be not longer than an hour. We don't know how the conversation goes, but certainly not more than that. If you need to leave, no problem. Feel free if you need to head out, whenever you need to head out. Of course, we're going to speak one at a time. And just for fun, I brought a talking stick. So we'll hand off the talking stick for those that have something to say, just to keep that going. We're going to respect each other's ideas. I don't know that anything should get too heated with these topics. Our time, of course, because we want to give everyone an opportunity to be able to give some input, try and be kind of concise and to the point when you want to bring something up. And of course, we're going to keep it civil. No profanity, name calling, or other disrespectful words or ideas. So we're here to talk about hats, earbuds, cell phones, and insubordination/disrespect. Basically, for each of those topics, we have some similar questions that I thought would just kind of establish a good foundation. We can go from there. We're going to start off by talking about hats. And what I've done is put here for you the current policy. And these are the policies that are on your student handbook. If you weren't aware, you can go on a school website, and posted on our school website is the student handbook as well as the district student handbook. The district has one, and each campus may also create their own or, revise or edit the others. But all of these policies are on your student handbook, so there's no surprises here, unless, of course, you haven't looked at your student handbook. So for hats, the current policy is students may not wear hats inside the building, period. And of course, that's one of those ongoing issues that we've had as teachers, and one of the ones that even within our discipline committee, we've had some different opinions and viewpoints. First question is, what are your greatest concerns with this issue? We'll just start with the students. Anyone have any particular concerns with hats in the building? So I actually had a little bit of this conversation during sixth period and brought up the idea of how there's a little bit perhaps of a generational difference in that issue. And the students I talked to really had no issue at all with it. And sorry, discipline committee, I don't mean for this to be necessarily me at all. So feel free to ask questions or provide some additional.
I want to mention, these are students that probably don't wear hats. Do you have problems with wearing hats in class?
He wears a hat every day.
So why do you do that?
Because I don't want to wake up and I just do it. I've always done it. I just like wearing hats, but when I get in the building, I do take it off because it's the rule.
And so do you have a problem with that?
Not really, no. It's just sometimes I do walk in and forget that I have it on, and then if someone tells me to take it off, I'm like, oh, I forgot, so I do take it off. But
Well, so students, do you agree with this policy? Anyone disagree with the idea of requiring you to take your hats off once you're in the building? I forgot to give you this. The talking stuff.
Honestly, I don't see what, was there a big deal about wearing a hat in the building? I don't know. That's why I'm I don't see why kids have to take their hats off when they walk into the building. Do you want to talk? No, it's okay. You can have a talking stick.
I agree with Emily. I really don't see what's a big deal with wearing hats. Maybe there's something that we don't know about wearing hats, but I don't see a big deal.
So I don't find it. I just feel like it's a sign of respect when you come in the building. So it's necessary to take the hat off. And I understand that it says just not to wear it inside the building. So students are still allowed to wear hats, but not inside the building because that's a sign of respect. So that's why they have that rule.
What if the hat gives the person that's wearing it confidence? Even if it's a girl or a guy, they have those those kind of hats that are knitted, for girls. I don't know what they're called. They just wear it to the back when it's cold. Yeah, take it off because yeah, there it goes. Why do you have to take it off though?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so hat thing is a generational thing. I was a student here. Those of you that were my kids know that I was a student here about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It was just, like you said, a sign of respect, right? So even if it's an accessory, it needs to come off, right? It's not glued to your head, right? So it's okay to take it off. And it's just a rule that is established here, and you just need to follow it, right? Just like a lot of us don't like to go the speed limit, but you still have to abide by the rules, right?
Thank you. My main concern with this issue, if anything, is kids that wear hats specifically because it's against the rules, because there's a lot of kids in the school, and of them, I'm sure a bunch of them are just going to wear hats not because they want to, but because it is against the rules. And so I think that'll always sort of be a problem with it. But really, I don't see why it's, like they said, such a big deal, because I mean, it's almost just an accessory. And I know it's sort of like a thing about respect at this point, but and that's sort of like a modern thing, like a modern thing of respect. But when you really think about it, it's just sort of like a piece of fabric you put on your head. It doesn't really do or anything really. And not to say I think we should just lift it, like we should just let kids wear whatever hat they want. Like, I mean, what if it's like a hat that says "Go Scorpions" or something? I mean, they could wear that, or I don't know. That's all I wanted to say.
One of the issues that I run into in my classroom during the winter months is the hoods.
Oh,
So what happens is I have to constantly remind the student to take the hood down when they're in class. It's warm, the heat's on, there's really no reason to have the hood on, except what it does is it conceals the earbuds. So when the hood comes down, it's interesting how those earbuds are in the ears. So for my classroom, I mean, the hoods have to come down, and I think that's part of the campus rule as well.
Mr. Brown wants it.
So there's some practical purposes behind some of this, for sure.
The other practical purpose that I think you guys are missing is we see it in our classes as a distraction. You'll know when you get bored or when you get tired or when you get upset, you start kind of fidgeting with stuff, and it becomes a distraction not just for the teacher who's trying to impart some knowledge on you, but also for your classmates who may not really have something that they want to play with, but it could be distracting from their learning experience. Just a thought.
I think there should be a distinction in the rules between wearing hats and having your hood up, because those are two completely different things. Because wear a hat's just sort of like a thing on your head. A hood sort of like like she said, it can conceal headphones. And I mean, sometimes, like if I'll leave the house, I'm not really ready, my hair would be wrapped. Sometimes I just kind of want to hide it, or maybe I just took a shower and my hair is wet, but the hood could like dry it or something. And so I'll do that like in the car on the way here. And so I'll have to take it off once I get into school. But I mean, that's why I put my hood up sometimes. And so I think there should be a distinction between hats and hoods. And if anything should be allowed, it to be a hat, because like I said, sometimes like it really helps, you know.
I think we kind of touched a little bit on that next question about why you bring hats when you know you can't really wear it in the building.
Oh, yeah.
Does anyone have anything to add? Well, then my other thought was, if it continues to be an issue, what would you think about just banning hats from campus, period? Any thoughts on that? I mean, if in fact you really can't wear it in the building, maybe why bring it at all?
Well, it has to be consistently enforced and reinforced, because as we see many times, I mean, in the beginning of school, things kind of get taken care of, and then now we're back to this issue. And the hat issue in my classroom becomes a problem all the time. I mean, I'm constantly having to remind students, and we're going into the 5th, 6th weeks. That should have all been taken care of the first 6 weeks. I shouldn't even have to mention it.
Did you want it?
Yeah. I understand that a hat is a respect issue, but it doesn't bother my class. And so when I'm thinking as a teacher, it's not interrupting my instruction. And so I kind of agree with the students. It doesn't bother me. But if it's going to be a rule, no hats, I enforce that rule, but I don't think we should have it on campus. Because if a kid's walking from the bus stop or from buses, he can wear his hat. But as soon as he gets in the C building, he has to take it off. And you just said we're in the 5th, 6 weeks and still dealing with hats. So if we're going to say that this is a respect issue, then no hats, period, on our campus. Then we wouldn't have this problem in the 5th, 6 weeks.
Doesn't work on that walk, but I agree. I agree wholeheartedly, because we
That's
shouldn't
the brand
have
today.
to still have these conversations this school year.
There's too many other rules I have to enforce,
Right.
and I don't wanna have to do that.
Okay, I can't say that I fully agree because of what they were saying earlier about, for some of y'all, it is an expression thing. It is about personality. It's about going off campus, if you're going off campus for lunch or going I need that assignment that you were supposed to turn in last week,
Oh, yeah.
and you just,
Focus like,
and then I heard, oh, I didn't know.
That's what we have tests for.
yeah, because 95, like, okay, I haven't gotten stuff stopped at once like this year, so.
Maybe you
'cause-
didn't notice because your earbuds were in.
But I never have my earbuds in because it's a rule. So I never have my earbuds in. So I mean, because literally during class time, I'm focused on going from portables all the way up to G building. So even half the time when a friend's talking to me, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I gotta go. I can't talk to you. I'm focused on trying to get on class on time.
Let me tell you a story.
Make it fast, she's gotta have it.
I had a young lady, she walked out of my classroom with her earbuds in. She put her backpack on, she had a skirt on. She pulled her skirt, and her backpack pulled her skirt. And I was like, hey. And her earbuds were in, she kept walking. I literally had to run, and I can see her bottom. That is where you need to not have your earbuds in, okay? Because you cannot hear what's going on around you. Because half the time, you guys don't like half volume it. You guys put it full blast, so you can't hear anything that's going on.
And we talked about what that does to your hearing.
Right, and I've had a conversation. I've had a conversation by myself with my sister in the car with her headphones in, by myself, because she had no idea I was talking to her. Right, so it's just a precaution. Plus, what can you really listen to in the 3 minutes that you're getting to class?
A song.
A song is 3 minutes.
A song.
Like I said, like I walked out of the brand and I was
If-
3 minutes.
If I,
It's a 3-minute song.
if I understand, I
Little
know,
beat.
I know one of the issues students has been, if you put it on between classes, you're not likely to take them off once you enter the room. But what I'm hearing is maybe you just have particular teachers where that's a very clear policy and it's
My
understood.
phone ain't going to
Phone jam.
phone jail.
Phone jail.
It ain't going in there.
I have
Not today.
I have a question. I know teachers treat it as a classroom management. We, allow or not allow. Is that up to us? Because the rule says
Earbuds may not be worn during the instructional
during
day.
instruction day. So I know us as teachers, we've been the rule. Is that what we should do, or should we enforce what it says? So yeah, exactly. Go back to that.
I can vouch to have bent the rules and Ms. Gomez walked in and taken some earbuds. So, but then the student has to comply because Ms. Gomez is over me.
I agree, but I think it goes back to the consistency. We're trying to make a blanket rule. Is that our rule to make? Because their handbook says none, period. Lunch, before school, lunch, and after school.
But our handbook says that if we get administrative approval or put it in our lesson plans, we can use it.
So maybe that's the
That's the
inconsistency
exception.
around on camp. I mean,
Right, but they don't see that exception. They see their handbook, which says no. So they don't see that we've already established that with our higher
So
ups.
it's kind of a question
To
of
allow.
being clear about things again.
Mhm.
'Cause I feel like I'm hearing that throughout all of this
Yeah.
a little bit.
Right,
Clear messaging from,
from
the school to students.
Yes.
and it's just a process in providing that information that needs to be.
so if we put that on our learning outcome, reports are okay.
My question.
We should be safe. So Ms.
Sorry.
Gomez shouldn't be able to come in and just ask.
In your lesson plan that you submitted before that lesson
Before
occurs,
that
right?
lesson.
No, put it at the.
My question is, how much time and energy we're willing to invest in this? Because if we continue to have rules that we're not going to enforce, then it empowers those who are violating that rule. And it creates a slippery slope where they just feel, well, if that rule can be violated, then I can violate another rule. And so PDA becomes an issue, and dress code is an issue, and we start seeing other little infringements on the rules. The question is the person continues to do the earbud thing, you know, and the teacher determines, are we talking, calling parents over earbuds and writing infractions over hats, and, you know, when we're trying to reduce the number of infractions that we actually issue. These are things that can, you know, I think we have to think about, because it can become quite encumbersome. And I'm just kind of a freewheeler on this and a little ambivalent about it, because I'm not for arbitrary rules.
I mean, with my students, I mean, I'm not saying that their earbuds out all the time. I mean, you know,
Right.
occasionally that has been a situation, but I am always having to remind students, take the earbuds out. Right, Derek?
Yes.
Derek hears it all the time. Everyone in my class hears it all the time. And the problem is, it is a constant problem. And I always give the student a chance to redirect that behavior. But then there's always going to be that one kid that just kind of slides it back in, just as long as when you turn around or gets it under the hair. So I would love to figure out a different way to deal with this problem, because it's consuming too much time.
And I think, again, that leads to that final, or the third question about how are we going to change the culture? Again, if a policy is the policy and it's not going to change, students, you know, how can we go about creating the kind of culture where you know, follow the policy, you know, that you take your hat off when you're in the building, that you are not putting your earbuds in, so that, you know, you're hearing from teachers that this is a constant issue. So to me, you know, the thing that we can try and do is think about, well, and I think a piece of it is we haven't been maybe as clear. We haven't communicated with students as well as we could, so that you get the why behind it. So it's not us just telling you, you know, no hats, no earbuds. You understand where we're coming from, you know, why. Maybe that's, you know, I don't know, I'm asking, you know, maybe that's where we've missed it, and that's something we could work on more.
Where they can own it too.
Yeah. Which is part of why you're here now, and we're having this discussion, you know, so that you can be involved in why we do the things we do, how we do things.
Honestly, I see a bigger deal of having the earbuds in the classroom because you're learning something, but in the hallway, I think it's okay to have it on. I don't personally bring my earbuds at all, but like I don't see a problem, because usually you want to get to class on time. But there is a actual blanket rule. Every time we get the speech from Ms. Gomez in the beginning of the year, she says, if we see your earbuds, they're supposed to take the earbuds and when it's connected to anybody taking anything up. They were always just saying, take them off. So people just keep on doing it. If you're going to have the rule, then actually enforce it.
But I think I'll speak for myself, but it's kind of like, you know, who of us is going to want to start off by, you know, taking everything away, writing an infraction? It's like this thing where if I can just give you a chance, you know, and come on, put it away. Okay, you put it away, we're good. But then it's leading to, you know, how many teachers are doing that, and then we're in this situation where
It's the fifth,
you
6 weeks
see
and we
no
still
one
give them
actually
chances.
do what we're technically supposed to do, but we haven't, because we're just trying to give you a chance and not create a
And on that
issue.
same note, with what you're talking about, yes, we are supposed to take them up and we're supposed to turn them in, and you're supposed to pay $15 to get them back. For some of my kids, that's their lunch for the week. And I'm not gonna do that to my kids. I'm not gonna take away their lunch money.
No, I
And so
wasn't
that-
saying like,
If they're
I'm just
listening.
saying, like, that's part of the rules too, but
But, and you have a valid point. I completely agree, but my kids also know, for me, I'll ask you once, if you comply, I give you that chance to correct the behavior. And if you don't, that's when I'm gonna take it, it's gonna go up, you're gonna have problems with it.
but when's enough? Because sometimes they're gonna keep on violating it. That's what I'm trying to say.
So would you be saying though that if we enforced this better, you'd be more likely, students would be more likely to follow the rules if we were enforcing them?
Yes,
More
there's a way, like, okay, one time, maybe 2 times every now and then, you remind someone, but if you see the same kid every single day doing the same thing, and just because you tell them to take it off, they're gonna keep on breaking the rule. But if after the second or third time you see that student doing breaking the rule, then you're gonna have to show them that it's.
Step it up. Go to the.
Okay, so maybe if we change the policy to where the teachers decide how they want to manage their classrooms. So we see like when we step to your class, we don't use our phones because we already know that it's a no, a straight up no. So we respect that. And if you're enforcing it every time, then yeah, we'll respect that. And with Miss King, I'm just gonna say this real quick. I feel like in your class, yes, we can use it, but sometimes you're too nice.
I will say.
No, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying maybe if you're like, okay, this time I'm serious, and it's a no, and take them up from them since they're constantly doing it.
Like if they're constantly doing it, just go.
Yeah. Who we're talking about, but we'll talk
I know.
later. Okay.
I know who we're talking about.
We'll take care of that little problem. Not an issue, Ms.
Let me,
Maya.
I'm going to propose that because we just really, you never know how long the conversation is going to take, and we've had great, I think we've had a really good conversation. Would you all be amenable to making this part one and then picking the other 2 issues up in another time?
Yes.
And do part 2 for cell phones and insubordination?
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay, and then you can take some time to reflect on what we've talked about. And the discipline committee will get together and figure out a date, hopefully not too far away. We can get back together, and then if you all will just kind of keep your eye out for this, and we'll try and send invites out again as well. But thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And like I said, I think we had a really good conversation, and we'll continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jansen.